Oh, hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody, depending on which part of this poor beleaguered country that you're in. I am Sheila Gunn Reid. You're watching Rebel Roundup, but it is Wednesday, which means we have what we call the Buffalo panel on Western Wednesdays. And I'm joined by my best friend in real life, my co-host, my buddy, my compadre, Lise Merle from Regina, Saskatchewan. Lise, how's it going?
Well, hello, my beloved Sheila Gunn Reid. It could be better. We're going to hear from a dear, dear friend of ours about why
Yes,
this day could be better in a moment. But it's great to be here with you,
yes.
Sheila Gunn Reid, and with our viewers. And let's get on with the show.
Yeah, let's get to it. I'll tell everybody how they can get involved in the show. Um, if you are watching us on Rumble, what a great free speech platform that is. If you want to support the work that we do completely willingly, out of the goodness of your heart, because you care about supporting platforms that care about your human rights, you can leave a Rumble rant. That's their paid chat over there. If it's over the $5 US cutoff, it's obligatory that we read it on air. If it's under that, we'll do our very best to get to it. And if you are watching us on YouTube, which remains a censorship platform. However, we remain remonetized over there. So if you want to leave us a super chat, that's their paid chat. And if you want to leave a paid comment, if you're not able to watch the live version of the show, the paid comment there is called a super thanks. And we just appreciate you so much for choosing to spend what little bit of your money is left in your pocket after the government's done with it to support us. As you know, all three of us on the panel today believe that the government should not be funding the media ever, never, full stop. So normally we have two extra hosts on the show on Western Wednesdays. It's usually a four-person panel, but this one lady, she does the work of three or four. So you're definitely getting your money's worth today. And it's just such a big thing, a big topic that we want to let Chris have her say. Joining us now is our friend Chris Sims. She's the Alberta director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. And of course, we're talking about I was going to say elephant in the room, but it is the monster in the economy. And that is the catastrophic federal budget that was announced yesterday. Far worse than the one that prompted Chrystia Freeland's resignation and the swap in leadership that gave us Mark Carney. That budget was so bad that Mark Carney had to take control of the party and thus the country and then give us a much worse budget. Am I reading the room right, Chris? Bring us up to speed.
Yeah, you are. I'll admit something. I've been in the game for a long time, been in the arena for a long time, been on the air a long time, and I kind of misread it at first when I was glancing at the numbers, and I thought to myself, "Oh, it's $10 billion less bad than what the parliamentary budget officer was warning about." Remember when that super smart guy, the PBO, was at the committee and saying that this is on the brink of a fiscal cliff and that this is unsustainable and it's stupefying? I initially glanced at the number and thought, oh, it's $10 billion less bad. No, I was wrong. It's $10 billion worse. And I almost cried because this is the number that matters here. See that? $78.3 billion. Okay, that one right there that's circled. That's the deficit. That is how much unmoney Carney's spending this year. This is just absolutely brutal. Yeah, thank you for popping that up. Michael Cooper, member of parliament there. He had circled that physically in the hard copy that he had in his hand. I can't sugarcoat this. This is a disaster. For a while there, I was trying to hold out hope that a different Mark Carney would stand up because we've been told kind of the tale of two people here with Carney for a while. There's the one person who's got his PhD in economics from Oxford, okay? Dude also went to Harvard, okay? He's been the head of the central bank for Canada and Great Britain. So, mathy-wise, he's supposed to be better with numbers than the dude with the sparkly socks, okay? I'm being really blunt here. And so I will admit, naively holding out a bit of hope that the adult would come back into the room, because that's what he campaigned on, frankly. Mark Carney campaigned on being different than Justin Trudeau. I think most of us expected that different meant better.
Right.
But he's worse. He's worse. Like, I can't make these numbers look better than they are, and I'm really sorry. He is spending more money than Trudeau. He's adding more money to the debt than Trudeau was even planning on adding. The interest payments on our debt are more than $50 billion this year. And I need to clarify something for people who are watching, okay? And I'm sorry this sucks, okay? I hate talking about this stuff, but it's the reality and we gotta face it. There is not some weird budget trick, okay, that kind of makes debt interest payments go away or puts them in a different bucket or makes it fungible or some other freaking econ term, okay? That's not true. It is a line item in the budget because taxpayers are paying it. You, me, Lise, all of us watching who are taxpayers, who are working people, we're paying more than $50 billion this year in debt interest. Put another way, it's $1 billion a week, ladies.
A hospital week.
When you put it that way, it's staggering, isn't it?
It is.
$1 billion a week.
So all of us grew up kind of the same era, okay? I grew up also watching Hockey Night in Canada. So every Saturday I would gather around and I would watch our beloved Don Cherry talk about, you know, rock'em sock'em hockey. Saturday night. I want people to remember this when they think of the debt. Instead of watching hockey on Saturday night, imagine we all gather around the TV and we burn down a new hospital. Every Saturday. That's what we're spending. And that's what this guy, I found out, my riddle has been answered, Sheila. Remember I was asking, is it this guy that's going to be putting forth the budget?
Yeah, it is.
It is. It's this person, okay? It is Mark Carney, UN Special Envoy to blah, 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 who wrote this book, which was endorsed by Bono, and in which a grown man quotes Greta Thunberg in earnest, repeatedly. So I'm sorry, I can't sugarcoat this. This is a disaster.
Yeah, I feel like we were sold a bill of goods that they just could never cash. They positioned Mark Carney as some, you know, overly credentialed, super, talented economist that was just going to fix all of this. And so to have them turn around and deliver Canadians, like, this is just terrible, Chris. This is generational debt, is it not?
Yes.
Like, our kids are going to be paying for this. Our grandkids are going to be paying for this.
Yes. They put some fancy ship on the front of that budget. You can see him there holding it with, you know, Francois Champagne, who is our finance minister for people who are keeping track at home. There's this, you know, Canada Strong, and it's got some ship on the front of it. They should have Mark Carney on board that ship and have it aimed at an iceberg. And Mark Carney should be rearranging the deck chairs.
Your colleague and our friend Franco Terrazzano, he said that Carney plans to add $324 billion, a third of $1 trillion, to the debt by 2030. It's 2025, you guys. Yet Carney still wants to spend $100 million on FIFA. Carney's giving CBC another $150 million and is working with the CBC to explore participation in Eurovision.
He's getting us ever closer to partnering with the EU on almost everything.
Yeah.
And we knew this right from the beginning. That he was gonna bring his bad European sensibilities to us. And look at this. Just trying to create a culture in Canada that doesn't exist. Just trying to fund it into existence, spend it into existence.
Yeah. So this, again, a budget, okay, a federal budget is a fiscal document, okay? It is supposed to contain basically 4 charts or 4 graphs if you want to, okay? It should contain revenue, meaning where the government is getting its money from. Spoiler alert, various forms of taxation. It should contain spending or expenditures, where they're spending your money. It should contain whether or not we are in surplus or in deficit, meaning, are we spending too much, too little, etc. And lastly, it should list the debt interest charges. It really only needs those 4 things. But instead, guys, this thing is 498 pages long, full of baffle gap. Absolutely full of it.
How many pages, Chris? Almost 500 pages.
498 is where my counter said on my PDF reader. So John Robson had 493. So I think he's looking at it through Firefox or something. But my point is that this is a disaster. They have learned nothing from Trudeau. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but Carney is spending money worse than Trudeau. Like Trudeau, the guy who thought the budget would balance itself. Like, who didn't understand, like, in his own admission, had trouble with math, okay? Like, he's a substitute drama teacher dude, okay? We all understand that he was bad with money. He was bad with budgets. Carney is spending it worse, and I cannot explain why or how. I'm starting to think, if I can get a little philosophical for a second, you know how, like, the deconstructionists and stuff, like, ruined humanities of, like, history and English literature and stuff, where nothing is anything and how do we know that a cat is a cat?
Right.
All that nonsense. I think they wandered across the quad at the university and they took over the economics department because they're treating money as if it is a social construct and not something that's real. That's my guess. I can't explain it otherwise. They're just not taking this seriously.
Really? How much are we spending on DEI?
Great
Chris?
question. There's an entire section at the end of it where it talks about diversity. And again, if you want to talk about diversity within your little, like, you know, Ministry of Heritage or whatever it is, fill your boots. It's got no business in a budget document. Not one bit. None.
And yet,
none.
And
it
yet,
doesn't. And yet here we are. I would strongly recommend that people go to the budget document and they look up budget 2025 measures by chapter. Okay, do a Control F search, and that's where you can get, like, the actual number here. Okay, skip past all of the gobbledygook and the words. Go to the tables towards the back of the document is where you're going to find a lot of this stuff. And again, I need to stress, this is all our money. The government, when it, here, I'm sorry I'm so mad, but I was expecting a bit better out of this budget. And Carney is spinning you. Carney is trying to pretend the Canadians are too stupid to understand that there's no difference in government talk between spending and investing.
Yeah.
The government has no money to invest. It has your wallet.
Right.
And it's investing your money. It's wasting and spending your money here. And we gotta hit the alarm bell here, folks.
Yeah. We actually have a video from Northern Perspective.
Okay.
Francois Philippe Champagne, they said the quiet part out loud for all Canadians to hear. The drama teacher Justin Trudeau and the journalist Chrystia Freeland were managing Canada's finances better than Mark Carney, the banker, the businessman, and the economist. And you just said this. I think this is absolutely true. And that ain't saying much.
Mr. Speaker, the last budget of 2 years ago had a fiscal anchor of a deficit of less than 1% of GDP in future years and constantly declining debt to GDP ratios in subsequent years. This budget has a fiscal anchor of deficits averaging 2% of GDP over the next number of years and a rising debt to GDP ratio. Will the Finance Minister confirm that his fiscal anchor is weaker than the last Finance Minister's fiscal anchor?
Mr. Speaker, I have a lot of respect for my colleague, but he might have noticed that the world has changed, Mr. Speaker, and this is a new government. And Mr. Speaker.
Francois Philippe Champagne just admitted that this government is actually managing Canada's finances worse than Justin Trudeau's government. That his fiscal anchors are actually worse than Chrystia Freeland's fiscal anchors. This is the face of a man who realized he just admitted that the alleged banker and financial genius is actually worse at managing Canada's finances than Justin Trudeau.
You know, they try and claim that they're a new government. They try and claim that they're a new
Same
government.
people.
They've got all of them except for the guy at the top, right? And the guy at
Yeah.
the top was involved with the old people. Um,
Yeah,
the way
he's the
that they're-
Wizard of Oz. He's the guy behind the curtain, pulling all the levers, the weird little
Yes.
dude behind the curtain. That's who he is. And Freeland resigned over not wanting to deliver a budget that was not this bad. And they said, oh, yes, she's got to go. Trudeau's got to go. We have to do better. And this is what they deliver to us the first time out of the gate.
Yep.
Well,
Remember all the fiscal guardrail crap that,
Yeah.
you know, pardon my language, guys. I'm just really mad.
Give her.
Remember
Please.
all the fiscal guardrail nonsense that the press gallery was, you know, toting around and bubbling around about on all their little shows? We blew past that by like $20 billion, I think. Like, I'm looking at this stat. Okay, this is just the one page again where it's showing me the deficit of 78.3 billion. The federal debt percent of GDP, 41.7. 41.7%. Like, this is unsustainable. Like, I don't care what your hopes and dreams and emotions and thoughts and feelings are about any of this, folks, in the Liberal government. You have got to balance this budget. Like, money is finite. It is a number, okay? They have got to balance this budget. There, thank you. This is like, people need to look this part up. This is the part of the budget that matters here, okay? And they have got to get this under control because it is costing us so much money in interest. And this is where I'm almost scared to say this part out loud.
Say it.
But I'm really worried about our international credit rating.
Oh, for sure.
And international lending agencies, they don't care what kind of bedazzling Carney's putting on his spending bucket. They don't care that he's calling it investing or what is it? Catalytic or some other...
Catalyzing. What a new, stupid government bureaucratic word.
This is just smog. Okay,
Yeah.
This is just language smog. Okay.
Yeah.
None of those international like credit rating agencies care one fig about any of that stuff. They're looking at the numbers. I really hope this doesn't happen. Please don't let this happen. But if we get a credit downgrade and our interest goes up, people are in for a world of hurt.
Yeah, we just lived through that. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, in Saskatchewan, remember, I need to tell you guys, back in the 90s, they hit the wall. They weren't able to borrow any more money. They had to close how many rural hospitals? Like shut down, gone, smithereens.
That was an NDP government that did that.
Our biggest hospital in Regina got shut down. It was brand new, Chris. It was brand new. Yes. And that's what's gonna start to happen.
Yeah, and Alberta is just now recovering from the successive credit downgrades that we saw at the hands of the NDP, who would not get spending under control, because there's no could not. You can deal with this. Yep. Families deal with this all the time. They just won't deal with it.
This is it. This is it. And I'm going to go after the little stuff first because it's easier for people to understand. Okay. So the government is wasting your money. I won't even use the term drunken sailor because I had a drunken sailor as my best man at our wedding. He was way better with money than this government, okay? This government is wasting so much money that it spent $100,000 on a documentary about a grocery cart.
Yes.
The life and times of a grocery. I know.
What?
I know.
Yesterday was order paper question dump day, and I saw that we spent $1.7 million to survey Canadians on their use of air conditioning.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, this is just an absolute dumpster fire. It is a horrendous waste of money. We spent $8,800 on a sex toy show in Germany whose title of that art show was so disgusting, I will not repeat it out loud. Oh, that's perfect. Look at that. $1.5 million finding out who has air conditioning. Like,
I'm sorry, what did you just say about Germany? Sorry, repeat that whole last
of all
thing,
the countries,
Chris.
too.
Yes.
They seem like the weirdest ones about this, by the way. So anyway, go ahead, Chris.
I know. Every now and then I wonder if I'm in a simulation. And it's little weird glitches like this that make me wonder, yeah, I probably am. But I'm glad you guys are in the Matrix with me. Okay, so we spent $8,800 $8,800 on a sex toy show in Germany. So
where seniors in other countries shared their sex stories in front of live audience.
Yeah, that was a different one. We spent 12 grand on that one. So
Yeah.
we were outsourcing old people's sex stories. Okay. And the reason why I'm listing these things, we spent thousands of dollars on a lesbian pirate musical. Like, I'm not making that up.
Yeah.
Like, we spent, I forget how many millions of dollars on access to healthcare by gender category in the Philippines.
Uh-huh.
Like, this is the small stuff, as they call it. We spend $50,000 a month on booze at the Department of Foreign Affairs. 50 grand a month. So bureaucrats can drink. I kid you not. Okay. So these are the little things. This is the broken windows side of the whole approach to wasting money. Then we get into the big leagues. So we get into things like Arrive Can, okay, which was supposed to cost like, a Thanksgiving dinner or something, like a couple $1,000. And we wound up spending like, I think it was $60 million on that stupid thing that never worked. And then we start getting to the big leagues of the Phoenix pay system.
Yep.
They can't even figure out their own payroll software correctly. How much is it, Sheila? It's over $2 billion now.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
wasted on that thing.
Yep.
So when people are like, "Oh, but what about healthcare?" we're spending more money on the debt interest payments than we are on healthcare now.
Yep.
Well past time to wake up. The whole house is on fire. It's not
Right.
just smelling of smoke. We need to leave.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday, how the Office of Major Projects that they created out of Bill C5, $20 billion or $20 million being spent on that. Do you want to know how many people work there?
Guess, Chris.
Just guess.
Just guess. Take a wild one. Like wild.
200.
Okay, and just remember, Don Farrell was hired in June, right? So this thing should be well underway.
Wait
Two.
for just
Two. Don Farrell and her executive assistant. The Office of Major Projects does not even have an office yet. Where's the office located? It'll be located in Calgary when they get around to it. If we scroll down, square footage of the office, we don't have one. The Office of Major Projects hasn't even gotten itself an office yet. They're going to get some major projects done, if you can believe it. The budget of $20 million, 5.2 million of it is allocated to salary, another 12,000 in non-salary, as well as 2.3 in costs for the employee benefits plan. 2 employees. This came out yesterday.
And how much did I guess? 200?
200
There's
employees,
two.
yeah.
My
There's two.
little rose-colored glasses. You're smashing them into little powder under your
$20
heel.
million. Do you think we're going to get a project done out of there?
Sure
They
don't.
can't even find an office space.
They
in
couldn't
Calgary.
they couldn't grab an office lease in this amount of time with
In
all of that
Calgary,
money and
with
all of those resources.
Well, 1/3 of the commercial real estate downtown Calgary is vacant. They can't find an office space for this thing.
You know, I'm really glad that Alberta Premier Danielle Smith is calling their bluff.
Me too.
I'm really glad. I'm glad that she's like, you know what? That sounds really nifty, this office that does not yet exist. So we're going to be the applicant, the province of Alberta. We're going to be the applicant to build a pipeline, which was already planned out to the northwest coast of British Columbia. Because the reason she had to do that, folks, because keep in mind, taxpayers are not paying to build this pipeline. Taxpayers are paying to do the stupid hoop jumping and paperwork crap that they do anyway, okay?
Right.
So what Smith is doing is saying, okay, I see what you're saying here. I'm going to put you to the test. You go ahead and approve this pipeline because Alberta is the applicant to actually do it. And you're telling me they don't even have office space leased yet?
We put together an application, proposed a project, and they can't find an office space in the same amount of time. Isn't that fascinating?
I'm not actually surprised at all.
No,
Like
me not.
considering what that budget I won't call it a budget. That is a violation of the English language. And I'm worried that George Orwell is going to climb out of his crypt and stab me for using that language. So that fiscal dumpster fire that was released yesterday does not surprise me whatsoever that they have not yet found office space. And for folks who are worried that I'm swallowing too many black pills, I'm not, okay? We can still fight. We must still fight. Surrender isn't an option. We have to keep doing this because otherwise, what's the alternative? We just give up and let our kids and grandkids suffer under this. This reminds me a lot, ladies, of the first Trudeau. I remember, you know, the first Trudeau, complete dumpster fire, strangled our economy, strangled our natural resources, like cozied up to Europe for some random reason.
Happening again. Exactly that.
Exactly. Exactly. Last I checked, this was not the 19th century, and Europe is not an economic manufacturing powerhouse.
Right.
So why are we just aligning ourselves constantly? Like, I understand if you like it for cultural reasons or whatever. It's like, fill your boots. I don't care. But in the budget document, why?
Right.
Why is this in the budget document? Our two-way trade with the United States of America is $3 billion a day.
A day.
A day. It's more than $1 trillion a year. Maybe we need to find some adults in the room and put them in charge of, I don't know, hammering out a trade deal.
Fixing the relationship. Like that's, I feel like I'm constantly repeating myself, and I know that I am.
But it's okay.
The trade relationship, not just the trade relationship, the relationship writ large between the Americans and the Canadians is the single greatest cultural, economic, and military relationship the world has ever known in all of human history.
Yep.
And it took 10 years for the Liberals to tear it apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And nobody seems all that eager to fix it. It seems like it's pretty fixable, considering, but nobody seems eager to fix it. In fact, they're sort of campaigning on the fact that they're never going to fix it.
Well, because because they've won. Well, some would say they stole the last election, but they're motivated because they know that it's politically expedient to act like Doug Ford and Mark Carney to the Americans.
Yeah,
we know that. Like this
just hurts Canada.
It totally does, and it'll all come out in the wash. Like this will all get rectified one day, but when the taxpayers of Canada need it to be fixed yesterday.
Yeah,
not one day, yesterday.
The workers of Canada. This is jobs. This is people's jobs that they're playing with. These are their livelihoods. Every single job loss is a family. And I wish the politicians would start acting like that. Those are kids that want to play hockey. Those are families that maybe want to fix their minivan, maybe go on a road trip, regardless of the Liberals hectoring about it. These are real people's lives that they're playing with for political expediency, and I hate it with a passion. Chris, how long do we have you?
I can stay for the whole hour if you need be. Yes. It's just such a disaster.
Like, okay,
this is therapy for you, Chris. Yep. Get it all out. Get it all out, girlfriend. Keep going. You'll feel better at the end.
I want to touch on something that is near and dear to Chris's heart. She testified at committee on this. The bailout bucks to the media. There's a couple of different ways that the media is being helped in this budget as trust in the media declines, as people are shifting towards independent and alternative media sources. The failing mainstream media is being denied the market correction they so rightly deserve by having taxpayer money just shoveled into their furnaces. More bailout bucks to the media, $38.4 million over 3 years, starting in 2026, 2027 to Canadian Heritage for, quote, special measures for journalism. That's the component of the Canadian Periodical Fund, which already exists, to help small and community news outlets continue producing quality Canadian editorial and journalistic content. And if you're wondering why your local Fort Saskatchewan newspaper keeps talking about climate change and literally nobody cares about it, it's this. Because they're funded to do it.
Interesting.
So I missed that in the budget.
Sorry. I got it. I caught it.
Okay. And then because I was looking for a lot of carbon taxi stuff, which they mention all the time, but they don't actually give us a number on it. I'm trying to find what I'm trying to do here is find, there was a stat that showed basically over 60% of Canadians now believe that journalists are purposefully trying to mislead them with statements they know to be false.
I
So
actually
how
believe that to be true.
Yes.
How much?
Working
Chris?
in media, I believe that to be true.
More than 60%.
Holy hell.
Like a huge, healthy majority of Canadians now believe, like, this isn't just a flub or getting like a date wrong or a map dot wrong or something like that, which all of us can do in media, or mispronunciation. No, 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 no. More than 60% of Canadians now believe that journalists are deliberately trying to mislead them with statements they know to be false. This is a huge problem because journalists, we bank on trust, okay? We're supposed to do our best to be as accurate as possible with data and facts while delivering perhaps some commentary, as I do, as Sheila does, as we all do, okay? But no, that's not the case here in Canada. And you're saying, Sheila, that they're actually, is that new money? They're earmarking
That's
new money?
That's new money.
That's horrendous.
40 million.
That's horrendous. Okay, earlier in the year, funny, it was right around the election time. Super strange, I know. The government announced $150 million more for the CBC.
Yeah.
So for the state broadcaster. Again, I will stress, journalists must not be paid by the government at all, ever.
Well, you as soon as you accept government money as a journalist, you're trading your credibility right off. When the government hands you that stack of cash, you're handing your credibility right back to them in terms of whether your viewers will trust you. And we're saying, like, we know that Canadians don't trust the mainstream media because they are in bed with the government who is telling them what to say. Yes.
Because they're their sugar daddy now. They're the ones that are sending them the paychecks. And I'm saying this as a longtime journalist, okay? Like, I don't care if it was the late, great, rest his soul, Rex Murphy reading the news with Don Cherry reading the sports. Zero government money should be going to that. Same deal. If it's the Toronto Star hanging out with Rosemary Barton at a cocktail party, I don't care. But no taxpayers' money, no government money can go to that institution. But here we are with the CBC, which is already taking $1.4 billion from us this fiscal year, okay? Put another way, folks, so because a $1.4 billion is a ton of money, that could otherwise pay for the full-time salaries for about 7,000 cops plus 7,000 paramedics. But instead, it's going out the door to the CBC. And now the CBC is getting an extra $150 million, as noted in this budget and announced earlier in the year, right around the time of the election. I will continue to point this out because it's an obvious conflict of interest staring everybody in the face. I will also point out, can I go over the viewership of the CBC?
Yeah, please.
It's super fun. Okay, so the last time I checked in their latest quarterly update, I believe the audience share was 1.7%. Put another way, 98% of Canadians who are available to watch television in the primetime hours are choosing not to watch the CBC. 98% are choosing not to. But we dug deeper, okay? We have an FOI here for the CBC 6 o'clock news, okay? So when you're driving by them in a major, I know, it's bad. When you're driving by them in a major city, they'll have like usually pretty big real estate, okay?
Right.
Some big, headquarters on a corner, okay?
Oh, yeah.
This is the 6 o'clock news. Those of us raised in the 80s will remember how big a deal the supper hour newscasts were. I actually have to pull my glasses off because I have to read this, okay? So the CBC 6 p.m. news viewers, okay? This is from last year, okay? These are numerous numbers, okay?
Yeah.
In Calgary, there were 4,000 human beings watching the CBC News at 6. Put another way, 0.2% of Calgary's population watches the CBC News. Okay? Oh, let's not pick on Western stuff. Let's go right to the heart of the beast. Let's look at Toronto. Okay, how many human beings are watching the 6 o'clock news, the flagship news, for the CBC? Okay? 48,000 people. That sounds like a lot of people until you look at the population. 0.69% of the population of Toronto is watching CBC News. And you're going to hear the CEO say something at committee like, oh, but we have CBC Gem. Okay, that's fine. How many CBC Gem subscribers do you have? They won't tell us. Weird, eh? But we're paying for it. And if I seem mad, it's because I am.
I love the way that you're taking the papers and literally throwing them away from you. You're just like repulsed by them. Get this away from me.
It knocked over my old Sun News Network card up on my
No!
shelf. Sorry.
Okay, now it's Lisa's turn to be repulsed. This is from Melanie Bennett. The budget quietly slipped in $2 million to create, this is just at the Privy Council, to create inclusion, diversity, equity, and anti-racism secretariat inside the Privy Council office, the department that oversees every other office. It's on page 283.
So while the rest of us are quickly acknowledging that DEI is cleverly rebranded socialism, and socialism is a failure wherever it has been applied, while the rest of the world is backing off DEI, saying this is a failed experiment. It doesn't serve the electorate. It doesn't serve taxpayers. It doesn't serve the public institutions that get caught up in it. What does the government do? They're like, listen, we're going to train the top guys in the best of the best DEI to propagate it through the public institutions so that it trickles down to you, Canada. The ways in which we should reject this absolutely outright. Most of us in Canada are done. We're done with the government telling us, oh, but this is, we are committed to a safe and inclusive environment. We're committed to a diverse and equitable environment. Get bent. We all know that this is just a way for you to write yourself checks to be lazy on the taxpayer. Look at this. This makes me nuts. Go on. Gender and diversity impact spotlight budget. Oh, where did this come from? Budget 2025. Oh, I see. Will support First Nations, Métis, and Inuit by building capacity of Indigenous communities to participate in Crown consultation. Okay, so we're going to do super, super expensive First Nations consultations. Perfect. So a very tiny handful of Indigenous consultants are going to get very, very rich off this budget. That's what I'm reading here. But again, like taking this to what is this? The Privy Council is going to get DEI overload?
Yeah,
Oh, great.
the Privy Council, which of course will bleed down into all the other departments, agencies, and ministries because they oversee it. So this is sort of what we can expect going forward.
I refuse.
Carney, however, claims that the Liberals' new budget will make Canada an energy superpower by turbocharging new infrastructure. What he means when he says energy and what I mean when I say energy are two vastly different things. And I know this because he also earmarked he unveiled a new climate strategy that has yet to be sort of put into detail. So that could be very expensive and very damaging to the energy economy. And again, his energy, my energy, not the same thing.
No, different energy for me too. Can I read right from the budget here? Because this has really piqued my interest.
Sure, and then we'll go to his clip.
Okay, it's page 108 for kids following along at home, chapter 1. Update on oil and gas emissions cap. Canada is committed to bringing down the emissions associated with the production of oil and gas. Effective carbon markets, enhanced oil and gas methane regulations, or methane, depending on how you want to pronounce it, and the deployment at scale of technologies such as carbon capture and storage would create the circumstances whereby the oil and gas emissions cap would no longer be required, as it would have marginal value in reducing emissions. So the cap thing jumped out at me because, of course, what this is a production cap. It's basically the boot on the throat of Alberta. And the parliamentary budget officer has already pointed out that this emissions/production cap on our oil and gas is going to blow a $20 billion hole in the side of our economy. Okay, so this piqued my interest.
Oh, wait. Plus, according to the parliamentary budget officer, who's taken a very modest approach to this, 50,000 jobs in and around 40 to 50,000 jobs. The government in an order paper question said, no, it'll only be 4,000. Well, one job is too many, but the Fraser Institute said this is up to 150,000 jobs. Just gone.
Yeah. And this is just the production cap, folks. This isn't about Bill C-69 or the West Coast tanker ban or their just transition crap that they're talking about a lot. By the way, that language is seeping back into committee. I'm listening to MPs and the Liberal side talking about just transition away from our natural resources. So alert there. But the language in here is so squishy, ladies, that it's kind of like, well, maybe someday technology will save us and blah, blah, blah. And we'll have a meeting to eventually maybe get rid of the cap. So we're not even seeing movement where we need to see movement, okay, within this budget. And again, we need massive, serious changes going on here. Sorry to jump on your clip there, Sheila.
No, let's watch the clip, and then I think we need to hit an ad break.
Okay.
Budget 2025 is a bold strategy to unleash over $1 trillion in total investment in Canada over the next 5 years. That alone can increase our GDP by over 3.5%. Again, let me translate. That's equivalent to more than $3,500 for every Canadian, delivering far more for Canadians than what's been taken from us from abroad. Now is not the time to be cautious because fortune favors the bold. It is a time to get big things done for Canadians and get them done fast. So we're building one Canadian economy, turbocharged by new infrastructure that connects our regions, that diversifies our trading markets, infrastructure that makes us an energy superpower in clean and conventional energy, new infrastructure that restores affordability to housing and secures our borders and our communities while creating literally hundreds of thousands of high-paying careers from the skilled trades to advanced technology. And the budget will make these generational investments while maintaining Canada's strong fiscal advantage by taking responsible, pragmatic choices. We're changing how government works, spending less on government operations so Canadians can invest more in our future. We're making government much more productive by right-sizing, cutting red tape and wasteful spending, and adopting AI at scale. All of this so that Canadians can count on their government to be more efficient in delivering the services that matter to you.
Chris, just please.
Like, okay, what he said there isn't true.
Right.
Like, they just flat out, okay, I don't care. Okay, if you like Carney, don't like Carney, like Trudeau, whatever, I don't care. What he said there out loud with his face is not true. They are spending more money. They are not saving money. They are spending billions and billions more. They're spending more than $30 billion more this year than they did last year. And they were already in a terrible deficit last year. So I don't know what Carney is telling himself here, okay? But it shouldn't take us to point this out, that international credit rating agencies, math, abacuses, don't care what glittery thing you're putting on your spending bucket. You're spending too much money. You're spending too much money. And what he's saying there is just untruth.
It's a flat out lie. And I pay attention to his like little dances with words that he does. Like if he were saying that he were going to build a pipeline or a massive export port for LNG, he would say that. But he's not saying that. He's talking about interconnecting us through these massive projects. And I just listen to this and I hear the wind turbine farms of tomorrow. This is not pipelines. This is not resource development. This is not LNG. This is not real jobs for Canadians. And this still says to me we're leaving 150,000 jobs on the table when he talks like this.
Yep. I gotta stress, I talk to people all the time, every day, all day, every week. There are smart people who understand this stuff. The problem is the government is ignoring them. Okay. Professor Ian Lee, I've been interviewing that guy for 20 years. Okay. He's at the Sprott School of Business, super smart dude. Okay. He has just been very blunt about this, saying we're standing, to your point, Sheila, on like a gold mine of natural resources. It's under our feet. Okay.
Yeah.
The rest of the planet is coming to us with money in hand saying, please sell us your natural gas, your oil, your minerals, your lumber, your potash. Please, could you do that? And it would take this government an afternoon to do things like scrap Bill C-69, the no more pipelines, scrap the West Coast tanker ban, and scrap the cap on energy production in Alberta. If it did those three things, it would take the foot off of the neck of the Canadian economy, and we'd have more capital coming in here. I'll put it this way. Okay. Government does not generate wealth. Right. Government does not produce money. Human beings, smart people do that. Okay. And they generate what is called capital. Capital just means a heck of a lot of money that they can put somewhere. Right now, Canada is not a safe park bench. Okay. Nobody in their right mind would willingly leave their purse on our park bench. It's not going to happen. Yeah. It's going to be gone.
You forgot the clean energy regulations.
So thank you. Sorry.
Yes.
I know.
I mean, that makes manufacturing in Canada so expensive. When we're worried, apparently, about the Americans poaching our jobs and our manufacturing and our auto sector and our steel sector, those are very energy intensive industries. And you are making the energy inputs more expensive with the clean energy regulations. We should be able to produce electricity in the cheapest, cleanest way possible. And I look at that and I think we got 800 years of coal under our feet. In a perfect world, we'd bring coal back online in Alberta. Maybe in the new country. Let's hit an
really quick. Even with just, sorry, I keep harping on this, but even without having our own pipeline capacity, okay? Like straight up, because we lack proper pipeline capacity, this has cost Canadian taxpayers around $13 billion over the last 10 years. That's just from the income taxes that would have been collected from the people working on those things. I'm not even touching royalties. Like, this is the mess.
I think it's $500 billion. Yes. But yeah, the Montreal Economic Institute has done some really excellent analysis of just in the money that would have been generated by the people that work there. It's just such a loss, and for no other reason but ideological nonsense. Let's do an ad break. We'll come right back, and I've got to find where my poppy fell off to. Thanks.
Gun bans make great distractions.
Trudeau may be gone, but Carney has picked up his same rhetoric.
We will quickly, and I mean quickly, reinvigorate the buyback of
hunters, collectors, competitors, and defenders of tradition are still being targeted, while criminals run wild under Liberal policy. But we are fighting back. Join us, Canada's National Firearms Association, in defense of freedom.
You like the hat? Me too. Same strong message about making Canada great again, but in a really cool color, black and gold. There's other colors available, and it's an all Canadian site. So if you want to signal your tribe or trigger a Liberal, go to mcgahats.ca today.
Big news, Rebel News now has premium memberships on X, Locals, and right here on YouTube. For just $4.99 a month on YouTube, you'll get loyalty badges, custom emojis, and access to members-only chats during our live streams. At $8.99 a month, you'll also unlock Rebel News Plus shows and our documentaries. But here's the catch. YouTube could cancel that premium tier at any time. That's why the best way to support us is at rebelnewsplus.com. It's just $8 a month, cheaper if you go annual, and you'll get exclusive extras like an ad-free site, comments access, and even the chance to submit op-eds. Wherever you join us, thanks for keeping our independent journalism alive and strong. All right, we're back. We've got a quick message from our friends at the Wellness Company. What if those who were once called conspiracy theorists turned out to be right again? A new study by Korean doctors claimed that COVID vaccines raise the risk of 6 cancers, including lung, breast, and prostate. Researchers analyzed health records from more than 8.4 million adults between 2021 and 2023, and their findings were published in Biomarker Research, a respected scientific journal. Critics missed it. I don't know if they missed it or if they purposefully ignored it, but the data raises concerns that spike protein exposure may be tied to long-term health risks. Dr. Peter McCullough has been aware of this since 2020, which is why he collaborated with the Wellness Company to create Ultimate Spike Detox, designed to help your body clear spike proteins, reduce inflammation, and support heart health. With natural ingredients like nattokinase, dandelion root, and bromelain, it is your daily proactive defense from a man-made virus. Don't wait until symptoms strike or something unexpected happens. Experience the only formula approved and used by Dr. McCullough, one of the top doctors who risked it all. Head to twc.health/rebel and use code REBEL to get 10% off plus free shipping. Again, that's twc.health/rebel. Use code REBEL to get 10% off. Get back to that pre-COVID feeling. All right. I think I read that too fast. Let's talk about the thing that everybody's talking about. And I know that it may be difficult for Chris to talk about in her capacity with the Taxpayers Federation, but I think you know exactly what goes into winning a campaign. We've got Chris Detremont crossing the floor last night. And he crossed to the Liberals from the Conservatives. It was a really close riding in Nova Scotia where he is. And what's strange to me is that, and there's some speculation about why he did it, and I think he did it for the same reason that Jagmeet Singh held on to the Liberals for so long, and that's for self-preservation and self-reward. He's crossed the floor to the Liberals on the day that the Liberals deliver this absolutely catastrophic budget. And after railing against Liberal spending for months and months. We actually might even have a clip of that. Sebastian Skamsky had it on his X account, if maybe we can dig that up. And now Detremont had a press conference, or he was scrummed in the hallway today and saying, you know, the Liberals more align with who I am. Like, what changed in the last 90 seconds, except for the fact that you thought you were going to get the deputy speaker spot, and Tom Kamich did. This is him justifying it today.
Well, let's start with the story of how I got here. You know, I would think over the last number of months, I wasn't feeling that I was aligned with the ideals of what the leader of the opposition had been talking about. So I've been sort of re-looking at, you know, what my career is bringing and what I can do for my constituency. So over the last little bit, talking to many of my friends in the Liberal Party, as Deputy Speaker, I got to know a lot of those members personally, ask questions, see what's going on, and understanding the point that we are in Canadian history, where it's time to actually try to lead a country, to try to make it better, and not try to knock it down, not to continue to be negative. In my case, as a Nova Scotian, we're always trying to find ways to work together to solve the issues that are important to our communities. And I didn't see it by sitting in the opposition. I saw it by being a part of the government caucus.
I bet you did. I think Andrew Scheer summed it up perfectly. Let's show what Andrew Scheer said, because what a betrayal of the people who worked their absolute asses off to get that guy elected.
Mr. Scheer, before I get into your reaction to the budget, I got to ask you, we just got into our inbox. An MP of yours, Chris d'Entremont, has quit caucus, has resigned from caucus. Your reaction to that and what it says about your party?
Well, it's disappointing that Chris d'Entremont has decided that he doesn't want to fight for a more affordable life for Canadians, that he doesn't want to fight inflationary deficits that are driving up grocery prices in his riding. You know, he's now telling constituents that he just got their votes just a few months ago, that now he's in favor of the industrial carbon tax on things like farm equipment and fertilizer, driving up food costs, that he's in favor of fuel standards that the Liberals are imposing that's going to increase gasoline by 17 cents a litre. So, you know, he'll have to go back to the supporters in his riding that dug deep into their own pockets to support his campaign and explain why he took their precious time and resources and then turned their back on them just a few months later.
Might it be that he doesn't think your party's solutions are the correct ones now?
Well, you know, he ran on them in the platform. He saw our platform and he said, yes, I support all this back in April when Conservatives were offering hope to young Canadians who couldn't find jobs, who had to move back in with their parents, back into their parents' basement. Our platform offered hope for young Canadians. Mark Carney's message is one of sacrifice, that Canadians who have been hammered hard by the cost of living crisis are going to have to sacrifice even more to feed a ever-growing budget, a deficit that's going to add billions to the national debt that has to be paid off with interest. So Mr. d'Entremont's going to have to explain that to his constituents.
And I hope we have definitely requested an interview, and I'll be asking him those questions. But ultimately, what does it say that there might be enough in this budget and the way in which this Prime Minister is governing to satisfy someone who ran just a few months ago as a Conservative? Does that not say something more largely about your
I wouldn't
party?
read too much of that. I know Mr. d'Entremont has had some personal grievances about the fact that, you know, he didn't get elected Deputy Speaker. He's been kind of upset about that. So I'm disappointed that he let his own personal grievances get in the way of his commitment to his constituents, that he would fight for a more affordable budget to bring down the cost of living, to lower the tax burden on Canadians. But again, he's going to have to explain to all the people that he looked in the eye, took their donations, put signs on their lawns, and then explain why he betrayed them just a few months later.
Exactly.
Conservative to all of those voters who were convinced that he was an actual transervative. But like all other things trans, yeah, Chris, you belong in the Liberal Party. Oh, this is a perfect home for you, sellout boy. Like, fill your boots, brother.
You know what? If you are that fickle, get out of here. Get into the Liberal Party. Goodbye.
Bye. Best place for you, buddy. Wishing you, you know what? We wish you the best. And we know this because your voters are going to punish you next time for this, for selling them out.
Yep.
So fun fact,
please.
members of parliament are paid $209,800 per year. Interestingly, based on what Mr. Scheer just said, I just looked this up really nifty on the
How much
government
would he
website.
have made?
For the Deputy Speaker in the House of Commons, that's a $51,000 bump up.
That's what
all
he's
it
mad
took
about.
for him to sell out. That's all it took for him to sell out. You know what? If I was one of his voters, I would be absolutely furious.
And
That's all it takes is $51,000 for you to sell your soul, Chris? Gross. Just disgusting.
I will point out that one of the things I love Alberta for a million reasons, but one of them is that we have recall legislation.
Yeah, we'll get you.
So if I hear a lot of people saying, you know what, he should have had the guts to go back to the people with a by-election.
Sure.
You know, that's up to them to decide. But as a mechanism of democracy, we should have recall legislation at the federal level.
Definitely.
Why do we just have it in Alberta at the provincial, municipal, and school board level, which is awesome? Okay.
Yeah.
We should have recall legislation at the federal level, which doesn't automatically fire the person. Okay. What it does is it triggers a by-election.
Right.
So he or she can choose whether or not they want to keep running for their job and win it again, or they can fold. They might win again. Sometimes they do when there's a by-election. It's happened in California lots of times, but it is a really good tool in the direct democracy toolbox. We should have recall legislation at the federal level.
We've got a really great clip about just what an absolute hypocrite Chris d'Entremont is. This comes to us by way of Sebastian Skamsky. And this is d'Entremont making a speech in the House of Commons about the Liberals' out of control spending. And ironically, or maybe not so much, he crossed the floor to the Liberals on the day of, I think, the most catastrophic budget in very recent history. So let's hear from him.
Support of the Conservative motion, because Canadians are hurting. Families are being forced to cut deeply into their grocery budgets just to get by. And frankly, that makes me a little bit angry and a little bit sad.
Canada is a wealthy country, but under this Liberal government, it's being mismanaged. Taxpayers are being squeezed, and their hard-earned money is being wasted.
In southwest Nova Scotia, where I have lived my entire life, people work hard. They want to own a home, feed their children, provide a good education to them, and maybe take a vacation every once in a while. But you know what? Since 2015, everything changed. Since I was first elected here in 2019, the cost of living has skyrocketed. Even then, families in West Nova, it was called at the time, but in Acadianapolis, were struggling. We warned that Liberals, their out-of-control spending and massive deficits were irresponsible. But of course, they didn't listen. And now, after 6 months under a new Prime Minister who promised financial discipline, Canadians are still waiting. He said he'd be judged by the cost at the grocery store. Well, Mr. Speaker, Canadians are judging him, and they are not impressed. Right. Instead of delivering relief, this government delayed its budget. So we're still waiting for a budget. We haven't seen a budget in a year and a half. Why? Because it's projecting an over $92 billion deficit. That's a monstrous, irresponsible burden on future generations. That's right. We'll hear it, I'm sure, maybe the questions that they're talking about a generational investment. But Mr. Speaker, what it really is a generational debt that my kids, their kids, and their kids' kids are going to have to try to pay in one way or another. That causes inflation and extra costs to future generations.
Yeah, everything he said there is true, except for the fact that he crossed the floor to the Liberals when they're making it worse. So he's just completely insincere in everything that he said. He doesn't believe a word of that. Maybe he does, but his own personal ambitions, he cares about more than all those things he just said about other people's kids that have to pay for generational debt. He said, yeah, I agree. Then what are you doing?
Then what do you do? What was the motivation? There has to be a story behind this. There absolutely has to be a story behind this.
It's the deputy speaker thing, for sure.
The $51,000 pay increase?
I'm sure. Yeah.
You think that
completely?
That's it? I don't know. I could see the Liberals sweetening the pot for him. I mean, just absolutely sweetening every pot they could for him to drag him over, because that sounded like a conservative there. That sounded exactly like a conservative.
Sure.
And yet today he's saying the exact opposite thing.
It's because his communication staffer wrote that for him. He doesn't believe that. I don't think so. Yeah, Deputy Speaker of the House gets a $52,000 top up.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if there's anything on the side of, by joining government, what appointment he would get or a top up, because just if you're a backbench MP, you're a backbench MP. It doesn't matter
I'm sure
if you're opposition or
right.
Government.
I'm sure he's going to get some sort of.
Oh, he's going to get, yes, that's where I'm going with this, is like, what kind of appointment has been promised to him? What kind of investment in his riding has been promised to him? Like, how is
Secretary of State for something stupid? I see it now.
Yeah, it'll all come out. It'll all come out in the wash. But in any case, how disappointing for the people that voted for him, for the people that donated to him, that volunteered for him, that door knocked for him, that were out convincing their neighbors that he was a stand-up guy that wouldn't sell them out. Oh, this is bad. He ain't gonna.
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead.
Found another little stat. The average annual salary in Nova Scotia is $51,000. Isn't it funny how every now and then the simulation lines up? Yeah, that's the average salary.
Yeah.
And that would have been the top up there, just pointing out. To your point of the door knocking, Lise, and how hard that would have been, I know that riding pretty well. That's on the west coast of Nova Scotia. It's up and over the Annapolis mountains. Well, they're old mountains, super old mountains. And it's the Annapolis Valley. They have a huge pumpkin festival, big apple festival. Lots of blueberries are grown over there. It also is home to a major university and to CFB Greenwood. So there's Wolfville over there, which is kind of their university town.
Yep.
And that's where you get a lot more of, I would say, the liberal or left-wing influence. So it would have been a really tough riding to win. To your point exactly, it would have been down to the doors. So again, straight up, don't care which party it is. We do need recall legislation at the federal level.
Yeah. Just turn it back to the people. Let the people decide. You shouldn't get to do, especially so close to the last election. What are we, 5-6 months out? Like it's just crazy. What an insult to all those people. And ungrateful, suck it up. Have some gratitude for the people who put their lives on hold to get you elected.
There was no self-awareness there with what he did. There was no self-awareness there. So what he said was, I started palling around with some fancy libs. And what they said was the Pierre Poilievre wasn't doing a good job. And then I started to believe him. And then I just thought to myself, well, may as well jump ship. Like, that is the extent of his thought process. He didn't feel good about where he was at. Exactly. He didn't get the promotion. He didn't want that. He didn't get the recognition that he thought he deserved.
He said he thought he could do more good from the government's benches for his people. But the just literally
just said
was doing all the bad things.
It's almost too good to be true, isn't it? Isn't it? Trans-conservative.
Yeah.
That's what we're going with.
I just can't believe it happened on budget day. Like,
of all days.
I'm still stuck on these numbers. Of like,
this is intentional. This is to take the heat off the Liberal Party, to create a bigger story than the what did you call it? A fiscal dumpster fire?
Yes. Yeah.
This was intentional to compel Canadians to think that the Conservatives are going down in flames because one of their guys ambled over to the Libs. Like,
no!
this is all just so contrived. It's just so contrived.
If I can tell folks in the opposition benches one thing, and it is stick to your guns.
Yeah.
Okay? You are correct for taking this government behind the woodshed over this so-called budget. This is a disaster, an absolute disaster. Just because Mark Carney set off a volcano of extra spending and one guy went and jumped in it for some reason does not mean that they should take their eye off this ball. Do not drop this issue. They have got to continuously hammer the fiscal irresponsibility of this government and the fact that they have this huge hidden industrial carbon tax. I got to stress this, girls. I went through the budget. I can't find the number yet. I know it's in there somewhere and I am going to find it. They're definitely cloaking it behind some euphemism. Okay. But it's written up that they're going to have a generational level, multi-decade, big, nasty industrial carbon tax.
Sick.
And I know. And it's all through Carney's book. Okay. And for folks who are like, oh, well, why the carbon tax? Yeah, the carbon tax, because this is the OG method of controlling your life. If the government makes you pay more to eat, to move around with mobility rights, and to heat your home, they've got you by the back of the head. Okay.
Right.
So they are right to continuously fight against things like the carbon tax and this crazy spending. So this opposition better keep its principles, and it's got to keep its eye on this ball.
Yeah. And I think that's our job, is to rough these people up when they forget who sent them to their jobs where they make $200,000 a year. Yep. And that's what we're going to do for Chris Detremont. I promise you. Let's read. And I mean that. We're working on something.
I like that plan. Like, I'm excited already. I'm pre-excited about this.
It's as much a lesson for Chris Detremont as it is for anybody else who might get any ideas. You know what I mean?
So here is your yellow flag to proceed with caution. If you're considering doing this as a conservative, there are going to be consequences. Yeah, we don't take kindly to this. We don't take kindly to this.
Look, the people of Nova Scotia who worked their asses off to send him there,
yes,
deserve the opportunity to send him a message in kind.
Yeah,
I'm just I'm gonna be here to facilitate it.
And that he may have left for a $51,000 pay bump when he was already making 4 times the average person in Nova Scotia. Unforgivable.
Yeah.
Unforgivable.
Okay, let's wrap the show because I gotta finish my my plans for Chris Detremont. And then I've got a couple of meetings to get to. We've got a couple of chats. We'll read those. We've got one from Nidotem888, gives us $5. He says, Mr. Carney is not Irish. DNA says he's one of the Ukrainian families that followed the Germans in World War II. How did you get his DNA? Okay. Carney,
scary.
yeah, Carney brought Hunka to Parliament. It will come out. Well, I did get the some of the communications. Carney was not involved in that. It was absolutely Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau and the Speaker of the House at the time who brought him. So
Anthony
look,
Rhoda, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm as conspiratorial as the next person, but I mean it's just there in writing. Alberta Dawn, $5. What company would risk investing in Canada when their factory could be claimed by Indigenous groups? Yeah. Yeah. Carney removed the luxury tax on vehicles and watercraft over $250K, but not on a work truck. Yeah, is it
like on the yachts?
Yes, he did. He took it off yacht. I know. No,
that's funny. Like it's so
funny.
shameless, right?
The have-nots and the have-yachts, baby. That's there is us and there are the ruling classes. Wow,
they're finding new and creative ways to make driving your minivan so expensive it's impossible. But they're like, we have to take the luxury tax off the Jaguar. Like it's just the dumbest thing ever.
Listen, do you know how expensive a Gulfstream gets when you consider the taxes? It is, and so we must eliminate that for our billionaire friends.
Right, as if the billionaires are complaining about the taxes.
I actually didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, that was like a
remove the luxury tax on yachts, you guys.
So Frankie Bubbles.
Remember that when you see food bank lineups. You know, just around the block. Remember that they did that for their buddies. So good. So
Frankie Bubbles, our Francois Champagne, our finance
Frankie
minister.
Bubbles.
That's what Brian Lilly named him. I think it's pretty funny.
Good.
So, what is it? In order to have an absolute fiscal disaster, it has to come from champagne. Otherwise, it's just sparkling debt.
It's very funny.
So, anywho, he said yesterday that, the administration of the tax on yachts was costing too much. It was apparently the administration costs were more than what they were taking in the tax. If that is true, then it's smart to get rid of the tax, but I don't believe that's true because this government is terrible at everything. So, but that was his excuse.
Look, I'm of the mind that we shouldn't have a luxury tax on anything. I think if you can afford to buy it, you should be able to buy it and you shouldn't be punished for working hard to get it. Sure. But I don't think that people who earn less should face taxes that make their choice of commute more expensive. That I just want fairness. Like, you're giving your buddies tax breaks. Like, how many yachts do you think are sold in Canada a year? I don't know.
I don't know.
People.
I let my subscription to Yachts Weekly lapse. That makes sense. So I don't know.
I just don't think we're yachting folk.
Well, they're not that popular in Saskatchewan. I will tell you that for free. So
yeah, we're more of a pontoon boat people out here, and maybe even Albertan speedboats for sure. Love a good speedboat.
Yeah, fishing craft. Yeah.
Oh,
you ever
trolling?
21-foot lunge? That's more our speed.
Love a good trolling motor.
Me and Anne Shirley in the dory. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm more of a inflatable air mattress and a case of beer or a 6-pack of beer tied to my inflatable air mattress people. That's what I think my people are. We're not a yachting people.
If you tie a pool noodle around it, it'll keep floating.
Yeah.
That's what we can afford. 10 years ago, we were yacht people. Today, pool noodleville.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
Sorry, I needed to laugh. I apologize. But
Yeah.
I needed this. This is great.
Don't apologize for laughing.
I'm on
If
an
we
air
don't laugh, we'd go
mattress.
nuts.
Yeah, and that's why I resent the fact that they try to take away those like 6-pack rings. I'm like, how do I tie the rope from my air mattress to the 6-pack of beer when I'm trying to float down the river? What are you doing? Honestly, you have to get real creative now. Anyway, Nightotem says, don't worry, my tinfoil hat is on tight as possible. Yes, I bet it is.
Mine's a bonnet. It's like fancy.
Mine too.
No, it like
Mine's
ties
a-
on my chin.
No, mine is not like a cap or a chapeau. It's more of like a hockey helmet. It goes around. I've got a chin strap on mine.
Mine is a fascinator, like a satellite dish. You know what I mean? Like just all over here. So then I can literally block out the negative rays from wherever they're. I just got
You can just aim it.
Yeah.
Also,
Like a-
if
like a
a
satellite
horse
dish.
race breaks out, you're also ready.
That's
I'm
true.
always good to go for a Kentucky Derby
Right.
situation, fashion situation. Yes.
Sully Canuck 120 gives us $10 and says, "Girls, thanks for bringing my spirit back up. The lib machine was starting to make me depressed, which I suppose is what they want. Love from Andrew Lawton territory, beautiful London, Ontario."
Love it.
Yeah,
My Uncle
thanks,
Brad works
buddy.
out there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Happy to help.
Yes. All right, ladies, let's wrap the show. We kept Chris for an hour and 20 minutes, and I think we only actually said that we would abduct her from her real work for a half an hour. So we appreciate you for sticking with us, Chris. That
Yeah,
was
babe.
great fun.
Thanks. I'm gonna have to go watch Question Period now.
Yeah, me too.
See if I can
Me
find some
too.
carbon taxi stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay, great. Again, special thanks to Chris. What a great addition you are to the panel today. Lise, as always, thanks. I'll see you this weekend at the Saskatchewan Party AGM in beautiful Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. That's where we're off to this weekend. Thanks to the team behind the scenes at Rebel News for working real hard to put the show together and pulling up all those visuals as we were talking about them. I know we put you on the spot, but you're really competent and really fast, and we couldn't do the show without you. Thanks to everybody who pitches in a little bit to keep the lights on here at Rebel News. As you know, we'll never take a penny from any level of government to do the work that we do. How could we be honest and independent if we did, if we were politically contaminated by government money? And to those of you who do the very free and affordable thing of just engaging with our content, sharing it with people who need to see it, that's a great way to help us get served up in front of more eyeballs. And it costs you nothing. And it helps us get around the internet censorship. So we appreciate you for doing those things. And as we say on the show, if you found us offensive, maybe don't find us at all.
Budget 2025 is not only about what we build, but also about how we build. We are building sustainably with low-carbon investments that will make Canada more competitive. We are building in solidarity with workers, creating good union jobs across the skilled trades. And we're building inclusively, in full partnership with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. And above all, we are building Canadian, with Canadian workers using Canadian steel, Canadian lumber, Canadian